In the quaint seaside town of Sandown on the Isle of Wight, a mysterious figure has been haunting the town for nearly 50 years. The Sandown Ghost Clown, as it's come to be known, is said to be the spirit of a young boy who tragically drowned in the sea back in 1973. This ghost clown has been seen by dozens of people over the years, and its appearances are often accompanied by strange noises and sudden drops in temperature. Some people have even reported being physically touched by this ghost. But what if it's not a ghost at all, but something else entirely? Hi folks, I'm Johnny and welcome to The Oddest. This is the story of the Sandown Ghost Clown, a real life mystery that remains unsolved to this day. So, let's get into it. Back in 1973, on the Isle of Wight, two kids stumble upon something incredibly bizarre. It's a story straight out of a thriller novel, and it all started when they had a peculiar encounter with a clown-like figure. Now, this story comes from a journal called Bufora, which stands for the British UFO Research Association, and it's the only record of this event. While we can't be sure if what the kids experienced was real or just their imagination running wild, it's a fascinating glimpse into strange encounters. So, picture a sunny Tuesday afternoon. It's May 1973. Two children, a 7-year-old girl that we'll call Faye, and an unnamed boy of about the same age, well, they were out and about near the village south of Sandown on the Isle of Wight. It was around 4 PM that day when they heard a weird wailing sound that was a bit like an ambulance siren. Curiosity got the best of them and they decided to follow the sound. They trudged through a nearby golf course and found themselves in a swampy meadow near Sandown Airport. The strange siren had stopped, but their adventure was just beginning. As they crossed a wooden footbridge, they witnessed something out of the ordinary. A peculiar humanoid figure emerging from beneath the bridge and wading through the creek. This odd figure seemed to be struggling with a book, clumsily dropping it into the water and then making quite a spectacle of trying to pick it back up again. It was like a clown performing some kind of strange act just for them. Oh man, I am getting Pennywise vibes right here. And here's the weirdest part. The figure began hopping away, lifting its knees high with each jump, like some bizarre dance. Their curiosity drove them forward, and they got within 50 yards of a 2-storey windowless metal hut, kind of like what you would see on construction sites. Lo and behold, the strange figure appeared outside once more. This time, it was holding what looked like a black microphone connected to a white cord. They described this entity as towering at nearly 7 feet tall with a human-like body, but no visible neck. Its eyes were simple triangles and its nose was a square shape and brown in colour. Its skin was ghostly white with circles on its cheeks and its lips remained frozen in a yellow grin. Perched atop its head was a pointed yellow hat with a bit of red hair hanging down. A round black knob adorned the hat and what seemed like wooden antennas stuck out from either side. The hat seamlessly connected to a long-sleeved green tunic over white pants. The entity had 3-fingered hands covered in blue gloves and 3-toed bare white feet. Intriguingly, the figure had wooden slats sticking out from its sleeves and pants, with its clothes sporting numerous rips. Suddenly, the eerie alarm sound blared once more, sending a jolt of fear through the boy, prompting him to make a run for it. But just as he dashed away, the alarm abruptly ceased, and a friendly voice chimed in.
Hello, are you still there?
Faye suggested that the figure might have used the microphone to speak. The voice, oddly warm and friendly, seemed as if it were coming from somewhere close, but not necessarily from the figure or the mysterious hut. Reassured by the tone, the children cautiously approached again. To their amazement, the figure introduced itself by writing on a notebook.
Hello, I am all colours, Sam.
It's still unclear if that was supposed to be Sam's name, but for now, let's call it that. Faye read the messages aloud as Sam pointed to each word in turn. She noted that Sam's writing was in large-hand, with words often arranged out of order. Curiosity compelled the children to get closer, and they heard the voice again, even though Sam's lips remained eerily still. With words poorly enunciated as if someone spoke without moving their lips, Sam asked the children questions, sparking their curiosity in return. They inquired about the rips in Sam's clothes, to which Sam replied that it had no other attire. The kids wondered if Sam was a man, to which it chuckled and answered with a simple no. When they questioned if Sam was a ghost, it cryptically responded,
Well, not really. But I am. In an odd sort of way.
When asked what it was, if not a man or a ghost, Sam simply replied,
You know.
Sam would go on to share that it had no name, despite the earlier introduction. It informed the kids that others like it did exist, even providing a sketch of one of its kind. Strangely, Sam admitted to being afraid of humans, fearing harm. All the while, two workers on an electric pole nearby, well, they didn't even acknowledge this bizarre scene playing out before them. Following this exchange, Sam invited the children inside a metallic hut it claimed to have just finished building. Hell no! The kids crawled through a flap and found themselves in a room with basic wooden furniture, an electric heater, and a high ceiling. The walls were covered in a blue-green wallpaper adorned with what looked like a strange pattern of dials and knobs. It's unclear whether these dials and knobs were merely part of the wallpaper's design or if they were real mechanical fixtures. The children also mentioned a smaller upper-level room with a metallic floor, but it's uncertain if they explored that area. Once inside, Sam removed his hat, revealing round, white ears and sparse brown hair. They spent approximately 30 minutes conversing with Sam, who shared details about its life, like eating berries it gathered in the late afternoon and drinking purified river water. Sam mentioned visiting a camp on the mainland and even demonstrated a mysterious conjuring trick where it made a berry disappear and then reappear in its ear, eye, then mouth. Ultimately, it was time to say goodbye to Sam, and the children left the hut to make their way back home. While walking through the golf course, they couldn't resist sharing their ghostly encounter with a stranger that they met and ran into. However, upon their return home, the incident was put behind them. It wasn't until about 3 weeks later, on June 2nd, 1973, that Faye finally shared this strange events with her father, known only in the report as Mr. Y. At first he was hesitant to take the story seriously, but he decided to follow up with the boy who confirmed Faye's account. Mr. Y ventured to the exact location of where this encounter took place, but there was no sign of the metal hut or any trace of Sam. Little did Mr. Y know that he didn't have to find Sam the clown, because he already met him. As the sun dipped below the horizon on October 20th, 1970, so 3 years earlier, Mr. Y found himself on a lonely road heading towards a friend's house in the coastal town of Ryde on the Isle of Wight. The night was quiet and the road seemed empty, but something extraordinary was about to unfold. As he drove eastward, his gaze was drawn to an immense luminous object in the night sky, suspended to his right. Positioned halfway between the road and the nearby village of Bembridge, it hovered over the swampland connected to the Yar River. The object drifted aimlessly, eerily silent, casting an otherworldly glow on the landscape below. Describing the object as a spectacle, Mr. Y recounted that it sported 7 or more large spherical lights forming a wide ring around its circumference, each shining like a bright red cherry. Between these red orbs, there were turquoise and white lights, creating a mesmerising pattern in the dark sky. Mr. Y couldn't resist stopping his car to get a better look. To his astonishment, the craft followed parallel to his direction as he left the town behind. But the strangest part is yet to come. The craft suddenly veered and positioned itself directly behind Mr. Y's car, approximately 300 yards away. There it began a slow descent, drifting over hedges and hovering ominously. He couldn't help but stop the car again, and this time grabbing a flashlight in an attempt to signal the strange craft. However, from this distance the object seemed smaller, with only 4 of the red lights remaining visible, now slowly rotating. For a full 10 minutes, Mr. Y attempted to communicate with this strange craft, while it seemed to dance and weave, moving back and forth in the night sky. Eventually, Mr. Y continued on his journey, and the red lights remained visible even as he reached his friend's house. He went and got his friend, and together they watched as this anomaly darted in and out from behind trees, almost as if it were playing a cosmic game of hide and seek. It was only when he drove on to ride that Mr. Y lost sight of it. In the months that followed, Mr. Y claimed to have spotted several other solitary red lights in the sky, which either hovered in place or appeared to follow him. Then, on the 1st of March of 1972, he had yet another bizarre experience. This time, he found himself at Compton Bay on the southwestern coast of the island, stranded on a cliffside due to an unexpected tidal surge. There, he encountered two yellow lights just beneath the water's surface, roughly 40 feet from his location. He likened them to the eyes of a huge monstrous sea creature peering up at him from the depths of the ocean. What's most intriguing is that Mr. Y never shared a word about this unusual experiences with Faye before her own encounter with Sam. However, he believed that their experiences were interconnected and felt compelled to finally open up about them. He eventually reached out to Leonard Cramp, the Vice President of the British UFO Research Association's Council, who suggested that he contact Norman Oliver. He was the editor for the Bufora Journal. Mr. Y provided Oliver with a detailed account of all of these puzzling events, and the story was condensed for the January 1978 issue of the journal. The article even included some artist renditions of the scenes as described, and Sam's likeness graced the journal's cover. However, the accuracy of these illustrations, well, it remains unknown obviously, as it's unlikely that they were shown to Faye or Mr. Y. It's worth noting that despite Sam's assertion that it was not a man, the original publication mostly used male pronouns in reference to Sam. It's possible that Sam's voice, name, or size led young Faye to conclude that it was a man, or at least of male gender. In 1991, this mysterious encounter was detailed in the book Modern Mysteries of Britain by authors Janet and Colin Board. While this story has gained some attention online, it has largely escaped scrutiny from skeptics due to the lack of concrete evidence. I mean, it's really nothing more than just a story. With no additional witnesses and no tangible proof to support the account, the truth behind the strange incident remains shrouded in mystery. It's possible that the young children involved, aged round about 4 and 5, well, they might have misremembered the event or even just fabricated the entire story. At that age, children are known to tell tales, often with a specific purpose in mind. What makes this case particularly intriguing is the persistence of one of the children, Faye. Even weeks and months after the incident, she continued to assert the truth of her narrative. Her unwavering commitment and level of detail in her account convinced her father that she was absolutely telling the truth. Strangely, neither Faye nor Mr. Y or the other child that was involved ever publicly discussed their experiences ever again. The whereabouts of the witnesses are unknown. And as of 2022, Norman Oliver, who had taken notes on Mr. Y's deposition, well, he sadly passed away. Any documentation related to the case is now lost, if not deliberately destroyed. And there's no records of the case in Bufora's archives. We can only hope that someday a descendant of Faye, the boy, or Norman Oliver will come forward with more information. Until then, well, this investigation remains at a standstill. This case is highly unusual, but as with most unexplained phenomena, there are similar stories on record. For instance, during his research for the Mothman prophecies, anomalist John Keel heard a story from Leonard Elmore of Duncan Falls, Ohio. See, in October of 1966, the 72-year-old Leonard spotted an unfamiliar L-shaped building in a field during an early morning walk. This building resembled a galvanised iron shed, yet it had no windows or doors. What's even stranger is that he heard a male voice from within, urging him not to run. Startled, Leonard returned home to fetch his rifle and returned to the spot, only to find there was no shed. It had completely vanished. The strange encounter in Sandown bears an eerie resemblance to a baffling incident that unfolded in Riverside County, California, way back in 1955. According to a chilling report from the Center for UFO Studies, a group of 8 or 9 boys were innocently playing in their family garden when their eyes locked onto several bizarre UFOs hovering in the sky. However, in a peculiar twist, whenever a parent ventured out to investigate, these strange objects would just mysteriously vanish. Inexplicably, at least on one occasion, a parent was completely oblivious to the UFO's presence, even as the children continued to witness them. Adding to the aura of unexplainable events, the kids reported seeing peculiar entities that not only spoke to one of them, but also seemed to hypnotise another one. The ordeal left such a deep impact on the young witnesses that one of them was still in tears hours after it when a reporter arrived to investigate the story. The Sandown case shares elements of what the renowned astronomer J. Allen Hynek dubbed as high strangeness. This term is used to describe cases that brim with numerous inexplicable elements that defy conventional scientific explanation. Sam, the entity itself, was undoubtedly a figure of high strangeness. The meaning behind its cryptic phrase, "all colours Sam," has puzzled many, especially considering that it later claimed to have no name. Some speculate that all colours might have been a reference to the visible spectrum, hinting at an entity capable of displaying an entire range of visible colours or even wavelengths across the electromagnetic spectrum. What's even more uncanny is how the children were drawn away by sound, a chilling echo of the Pied Piper of Hamelin's tale. Interestingly, pied refers to something adorned with two or more colours, hinting at the entity's multifaceted nature. One of the most challenging aspects of this case lies in categorising Sam. Commentators have referred to Sam as an alien, a clown, a ghost, a robot, or even some sort of cryptid, underscoring the sheer mystery surrounding this otherworldly encounter. Some ufologists, such as Jacques Vallée and John Keel, have put forth a compelling argument that encounters with anomalous entities and UFOs might be influenced by cultural imagery embedded in our collective consciousness. In the case of the Sandown children, it's possible that they unconsciously projected familiar cultural images onto whatever they were witnessing. Ultimately, the entity itself might have been attempting a crude imitation of a human, possibly through costume or some advanced technological process. Sam's appearance appeared to be a curious blend of a clown and a scarecrow. During the time of the Sandown incident, England had a rich tapestry of books, films and television shows that all featured clowns and scarecrows as characters. These archetypes had long been part of their cultural heritage. For instance, the tramp clown, often seen in vaudeville and minstrel shows of the 19th century, always wore tattered and dirty clothes. Similarly, scarecrows, left to weather the elements, naturally acquired ragged attire. One of the most famous scarecrow characters in Western culture was the one from The Wizard of Oz, who sported torn clothes and had straw protruding from his sleeves and pant legs, which mirrored these wooden slats that were seen on Sam. The pointy hat and covered neck and collar were also reminiscent of the scarecrow character. It's almost as if Sam's image was constructed based on characters from pop culture that the children found comforting and familiar. In the Bufora article, Mr. Y suggested that the children were ensnared in a peculiar bubble of alien reality created by Sam. I mean, this might explain why the electrical workers on that pole couldn't see anything unusual. Many witnesses of UFOs, cryptids and other strange anomalies often report a profound shift in their perception just prior to their encounters. Some describe an eerie silence, an altered atmospheric sensation, time distortion, memory glitches, or strange sounds and smells. Jenny Randalls termed this phenomenon the Oz factor back in 1987, describing the altered sense of reality surrounding anomalous experiences. While Jacques Vallée referred to it as reality transformation, it's conceivable that both Sam and its peculiar hut existed only within its own separate transformed reality, vanishing from our physical world. The Sandown Ghost Clown, as it's often known, remains a perplexing anomaly, even within the field of unexplained phenomena. While the children's experiences share similarities with UFO abductions and ghost sightings, they always differ in significant ways. This case serves as a stark reminder that each encounter is a unique experience, resisting rigid categorisation. Moreover, the Sandown case, along with others like it, hints that the phenomenon behind these bizarre interactions might be reaching us through an alternate reality, or perhaps within the depths of our own minds. So, that's it for another wee video, folks. What's your thoughts on this story? Alien? Ghost? Or just children's wild imaginations? I mean, it could well have just been some creepy dude dressed as a clown. Anyway, I'm off now for a cup of tea. You stay safe, tell someone that you love them, and remember, keep smiling. The pointy hat and the covered neck and collar were also reminiscent of, in the case of the according to a chilling report from the Centre for UFO Studies, a group of 8 to 9 boys, Sam invited the children inside a the entity had three-fingered hands. The children also mentioned a smaller the Sandown Ghost Clown, as it's often known. Sandown Ghost Clown. Sandown Ghost Clown.